So the next question is, we've briefly discussed it, but not fully, I want you to discuss your parents and your family backgrounds. So can you tell me who lived in the house, basically, to start off with?
Well, with Mum and Dad.
Yeah. What were your parents' names?
Oh, Fred William, I think it was.
Yeah.
My father.
Mm-hmm.
And Alice Ray, R-E-A.
Yeah.
And remember that in me mother.
And which brothers and sisters lived with you as well?
Hmm?
Which brothers and sisters lived with you?
Well, they were all there.
They were all there.
In the very early days, like Albert was the...
Albert was the oldest, was he?
I think Albert was the oldest, but Margaret couldn't have been very far off him.
Yeah. Who else was there?
It's Marguerite. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was Katie was the next girl. Nora the youngest girl, who was about 5 years older than me.
Yeah. So that's everyone. Is that everyone?
No. Yes, well, I've had Albert and Fred, haven't I?
You've had your mum and dad,
Yeah.
Albert, Marguerite, Katie and Nora.
We've missed out Fred.
Fred, okay.
He's in between.
Yeah.
He was about 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
That's 6, is it?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children and you. So 6 in total.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go each of them one by one. So talk about your mum first. What was your mum like?
Well, I loved her.
Yeah.
When I was little, and I used to promise her to buy her dresses and things when I was walking along with her, because we had to go and visit her dad, who lived in Oldbury. Oldbury, ever heard of it? It's part of Birmingham.
Do you know what his name was?
No.
No, you don't remember.
No. As far as I later in my life, I presumed he was her father, my mum's father, but I don't think so. But I used to walk along with her in my best suit that she'd made. Oh yes, she clothed me.
Yeah.
And, you know, my mum. And quite well, I think. You know, that's my impression of being dressed reasonably by my mother. And then we used to go and, I think this must have been her father, that we went, and I'd talk to her as we walked along. And that was when I've got memories of saying that when I was old enough, I'd buy some nice clothes. You know.
Yeah. Did she used to tell you anything about her life as a child or anything like that?
Oh, I think she did, but I don't think I remember much of it. I think she had a brother who lived in Rubery.
Yeah.
Worked in a funny sort of home where they kept people. We didn't go there very often.
No.
But I knew of there were people who were related to my mum.
Do you know how your mum knew your dad? How they met?
I don't think I did.
No.
He'd been in the First World War.
Yeah, so let's move on to briefly talk about your dad. So what do you remember about your dad?
It was... I don't remember a lot of when I was very small.
No, it doesn't have to be when you were very small, because we're talking up to 1935, so when you were a teenager as well, just up until you joined the army. Yeah. Not the army, the RAF.
Yeah. He was good to me, I think.
Yeah.
And we used to play there was enough room to play games in the yard.
Yeah.
The yard also had a toilet that you had to go out to, and a miskin, I think it was called, where rubbish was dumped.
Yeah.
But we had palings, as they called, round the, which, with a back gate, like, if you know what I mean, a tall gate, and you were cut off from the rest of the people.
Okay, yeah.
That were down that entry. Other than this next door one where I knew the girl, more or less.
Did you see a lot of your dad, or was he always at work or down the pub or anything like that?
He used to like his pint.
Yeah.
Do
you know what pub he used to go to, what it was called?
Right.
Do you know what pub he used to go to?
It was in Lincoln Street.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been there. You know, in the back there was a yard that led through to a road called Court Road.
Yeah.
And my mum used to go with him at the weekend, I think. Right, one evening.
So they went together at the weekends?
Sunday or Saturday or something like that. And they'd take me and round in this backyard.
Yeah.
I ought to know the name of the pub.
I'm sure I could find it out if I researched what street it was on.
Lincoln Street, anyhow, on the right hand side. And,
yeah.
I can't think of it. Yeah, well, isn't it bloody daft? You can't. And I must have spent a lot of time playing with people.
So you used to go down to the pub as well? Yeah. So did your mum and dad always get along, or were there any arguments in the house?
I don't recall any particular rows, apart from my mother objected to anybody swearing, and Nora often said bloody, I think, or something of that sort. That Nora, who was the youngest girl, was 5 years older than me, but she was a bit annoying to her mama, if you know what I mean. But I don't think she disliked her mother, anything like that. But she wasn't as...
They didn't get along as much.
She wasn't so select.
Did you used to get any punishments or anything, or were you well behaved?
I've got a feeling that I get a clout across the ear from somebody, one of them, if necessary.
Yeah.
But not
regularly.
There was no big stick being waved.
No.
I think Mum had a cane.
Yeah.
But I don't remember her using it.
No.
Yeah, but she had a cane and they'd hit you across the hand or something like that. But I'm only imagining some of it, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
You do have to remember, it's not just when you're a child as well, when we're talking about, it's when you're a teenager as well.
As I said, 1935, of course, was quite elderly in a way for me.
Yeah, so our perceptions of what we consider childhood are different today to what you would consider a child. Because obviously we still consider someone that was 15 an adolescent, a teenager.
Well, I used to go errands a lot into Balsall Heath Road, which was at the bottom of Cock Street West, leading up to Upper Cock Street. Triangle.
Yeah.
And but Balsall Heath Road had a lot of shops in it, But I used to go, I don't know, I couldn't have been very old, but I used to fetch the meat from the butcher's, which was further down. If you went down Cox Street West, you crossed Balsall Heath Road, and down Longmore Street, round the corner into what was called Gooch Street, and we went always to the same butcher's. As far as I remember, but I had to go and get it.
Yeah.
When I got my bike, you know, I wouldn't worry about traffic.
No.
And, well, because there were a lot of people with bikes.
Yeah. There weren't many cars in those days,
No.
either.
No. And, but she'd send me to get the meat for the day.
Yeah.
I think she was more likely to buy, she might buy a special joint for the weekend, or something like that, but in general, it should be a daily business.
Yeah.
Of getting what she wanted.
So you'd go out most days to the shops. Okay, so let's talk about Albert now. So what do you remember about Albert?
Well, Albert was looked on as the cleverest. He always worked for the same firm.
What firm was that?
Lucas.
What do they make?
Well, Lucas is a famous firm in Birmingham. Was a famous firm in Birmingham. I'm trying to think how you describe what the product was. I think there were several things, but I can't. What they were specialised in. But I know,
Don't worry about it.
I remember one thing about it with Albert, that when he got married, he got a house, he rented a house, which was halfway between where he worked and the football ground, I think it was.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was positioned deliberately that he'd be in that area. It's funny, isn't it? And he got on quite well. He's quite a clever man.
Yeah.
But what he made, it's not good in there.
So was he like, was he just a worker or a manager or?
Eventually, he worked at Lucas's, I think, all his life.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I don't think he ever changed.
No.
Till he died, you know. And, where's he? He must have died. But a lot older.
Yeah.
But he, I know he was very proud. Oh, not very proud, but you got the impression that if somebody grumbled about the price they got paid, the working people, he wasn't he was a manager.
Yeah.
And he was upset, I remember at one stage, because he didn't go to university, but he got 36 ex-university, Birmingham University, people working for him.
Oh, right.
That he managed.
Yeah.
And it irritated him at some time, I can remember.
Oh, right. So he didn't like people with a university education then?
Well, he felt he could do anything that was done in Lucas's.
Yeah.
And he was, if somebody grumbled about the pay scheme, which was, they got paid so much an hour or so much a job done. And I can remember must have been discussed while I was intelligent enough to understand it, that if there was a row on about pay, he'd go down there and see the bloke.
So with the trade unions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, he'd say no. He was the bossy talk then. He was managing.
Yeah, I mean, he went to like the trade union leaders.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
But he could go down and do the job that the bloke was grumbling about his pay, and if it took longer, the pay would go up.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go down normally with him. But if there was any problem, he would have a go at doing it. And if it took him longer than the people, because he'd worked all his way up through Lucas, as you see.
Yeah.
You know, he'd worked on most jobs.
Had to work his way up because he didn't have an education background.
That's right. And as I say, I think he was well known in Lucas's itself. That if he said that's the pay, that's the pay. You know?
Yeah. Was this the oldest one?
I should think he was the eldest. I'm not quite sure.
Possibly Fred would have been.
She and Margaret. Margaret. What did Margaret do?
We'll come on to Margaret in a minute.
Sorry.
It's all right. So, yeah, we'll move on to Fred next, and then we'll go on to Margaret. So, what do you remember about Fred?
He was my favourite brother. Yeah.
Why was he your favourite?
I remember him. He was about 10 years older than me. But what did he do? What's bothering you? I think he was quite respected, like as a worker, but and he was in the church choir. That's how I got there.
Factory work, was it? Was it a factory worker?
Well, he was. He worked at the same place as his dad for a long time till he was pushed out. But what did you do after that? I couldn't think, because he was getting on. You know, he must have been. You know, you wouldn't call him a kiddie.
No.
Working, but he worked at the same place as his father, but he made these gas meters. But that seems to be his main, what the factory in the main did like.
So you say he's your favourite brother. Why is he your favourite brother?
Well, he talked to me, but Albert was too old. He got married, you know. You didn't. Fred would look after me.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on me, as it were. And then, as I say, when I was 8, he made me join. He didn't make me. He took me to join the choir.
Yeah. Okay. So Marguerite.
Marguerite was in an office, I think. You know, she was quite clever. I think she could type. I remember she was a typist. And Kate was too. Katie was quite an office worker.
Yeah.
And so was Marguerite, I think, as far as I remember. But Nora, who was only 5 years older than me,
so Nora was the closest one.
Closest to me.
Yeah.
What did she do? I should know perfectly well what she did, but I can't.
Don't worry about it. So did you used to play with Nora if she was like the only one that was...
When I was very young, although she was 5 years older than me, because sleeping arrangements were awkward.
Yeah.
With only 3 bedrooms. There was mum and dad in the front room. Mm-hmm. 3 women, 3 girls and me.
Yeah.
In the biggest of the rooms, and the 2 boys. But Albert had got married and disappeared by the time I moved into the same room as Fred.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll leave that question for now and we'll move on to the next one.